Good morning, everyone. Boker Tov. I'm in New York for some happy occasions and celebrations. And today is Juneteenth, the day that America commemorates the day that Abraham Lincoln ended slavery in 1865. It's also known as Freedom Day, and we mark the leadership of Abraham Lincoln in emancipating the slaves and giving them freedom. Well, this week's Torah portion also discusses an emancipation, and that's the one conducted by Moses himself, who freed the Jews from slavery to grant them their freedom. But in this week's Torah portion, Moshe Rabbeinu, one of our greatest Jewish leaders, if not the greatest, has a breakdown, and he cries out to God and says, I can't take it anymore. The Jews are incessantly complaining. Now they're complaining about the food. And he says the following words to God. He says, God, did I give birth to this nation, that I have to carry them like a mother carries her baby? And then he says the following words to God. He says, God, if this is my lot in life to lead the Jews, put me out of my misery, so to speak. Kill me and let me not see this evil. And the question is, Moses was the greatest leader ever. He managed to face down Pharaoh and break Egypt and free the Jews with 10 plagues and split the sea and receive the Torah from Mount Sinai. He had countless challenges, and he always rose to the occasion. Why now is he having this breakdown? He seems like he's at the edge of despair. And one answer could be given based on the writings of a great professor by the name of Ronald Hafetz, who says there are two types of leaderships. There's technical leadership and there's adoptive leadership. There are technical challenges and problems and adoptive problems. And to give an example, technical leadership means where there's a technical problem that needs to be fixed, and a good leader could step in and correct it. But adoptive challenges is where it's not enough for the leader to create a technical change, but the person or the people they're leading have to adopt to a new set of circumstances, a new set of situations. It requires people to change who they are, how they live, and their culture. So for example, a person's not feeling well, he goes to the doctor. The doctor says, no problem, we got a fix for that. Take this medication, you'll be fine. All you have to do is take the medication. But then there are times where the doctor says, you need to change your lifestyle. You have to start eating differently. You have to start exercising. You have to start sleeping better. And now the leader has to get the person to change the way they live. Moses was very good at technical challenges. It's easy to go to Pharaoh when God says, tell Pharaoh, let the Jewish people go, and here comes plague 1 and plague 2. Moses was able to exercise that leadership. But now Moses says, I can't get these people to change their ways. They're still stuck in a slave mentality. They're still complaining about everything instead of being grateful. What should I do? I'm giving up. I can't take it anymore. And that's where God says, no. Get 70 leaders, 70 elders, and they will help you lead. And yes, we will change this nation. Maybe not this generation, but the next generation. And here we are 3,000 years later as a free Jewish nation. Because yes, it may take a little longer, it may be a little more difficult, but true leaders cannot only rely on technical leadership, but also adoptive leadership to inspire people to change who they are. And that's what we did as a country in America with the ending of slavery, the day that we're commemorating today. That's what the Jewish people have done over 3,000 years ago until today. But never has this been greater than in our generation, where after the Holocaust, the Jewish people said, we will no longer be at the mercy of the nations of the world. We will take our fate into our own hands with the help of God. We will establish our own homeland. We will stand up and fight for our own freedom and not rely on others to grant it to us. Just recently there was a wedding this month in Jerusalem. The rabbi who officiated, his name was Rabbi Shlomo Chayan. And this couple was standing under the chuppah, and the groom was a religious fellow with a black hat from a Chabad family. The rabbi officiated the wedding, and then at the end of the wedding, where the groom breaks the glass and says, if I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget its cunning. The rabbi said to the groom, you come from a Chabad lineage. Your black hat represents your religious, spiritual background. But you also come from another great lineage, because you fought valiantly as a paratrooper in the IDF. And you carry the lineage of thousands of years of Jews who fought for Jerusalem. and yearned for Jerusalem and prayed for Jerusalem. But more specifically, 57 years ago, on the day of the reunification of Jerusalem, it was your unit, the paratroopers of the IDF, who redeemed Jerusalem after thousands of years and reunited it. And you come from that lineage of those brave fighters who fought for Jewish independence and freedom. And therefore, for this last part of remembering Jerusalem and breaking the glass, I want you to take off your black hat and put on your red beret of a paratrooper in the IDF. And with that, say the words, "If I forget the old Jerusalem," because you have not just prayed for Jerusalem, you're part of a lineage of those who brought Jerusalem back to the Jewish people. And that's adoptive leadership. We're not only going to fix the technical problems, but we're going to change the way we live as a people, to be free, to be independent, to be able to come home to our Jewish homeland and defend ourselves. I'm in New York City, the heart of anti-Semitism and encampments and protests against Jews. Why? Because Jews are standing up for themselves. The world is not used to seeing Jews stand tall and proud and brave. For thousands of years we were at the mercy of others, but now Jews are defending ourselves. And the world may not like it, but we're here to say that Am Yisrael Chai, we will no longer cower. And hopefully today I'm going to go to the Nova exhibit here in New York City, which was postponed, or I would say extended for another week, because of protesters who came outside the Nova Festival exhibit showing the murder of 1,200 Jews and over 300 at the Nova Festival. And these people had the audacity to raise Hamas and Hezbollah flags in front of the Nova exhibit. And therefore the exhibit organizers said to those who are chanting outside, "Long live October 7th." If you could imagine that in the face of such a memorial to the horrors of the atrocities of October 7th, the exhibitors and the organizers said, "We're going to extend it here to let New York see it even longer, because there's a need to educate people." That's what it means to be a Jewish nation. We will stand taller and prouder. Commemorate today as a day of freedom, not just for Americans, for all Americans, but the end of racism includes the end of racism, bigotry, hatred, and anti-Semitism towards Jews as well. And when that happens, when we could all live in America with peace and acceptance, no hatred, no bias, no anti-Semitism, and no racism, then we'll know it's a true holiday. Have a meaningful day and a good day.